Okay, hello out there in YouTube land. Today is the first Monday of October, and as is becoming our tradition, uh, everyone has selected something to share with us. It can be actually any form of writing at all, and if you just want to sing a song, that's fine too. But I suspect it'll be mainly reading.
You
Uh,
wouldn't.
This is a little bit different than the average first Monday because, in addition to being the first Monday of the month, it is October 6th. And October 6th is the death anniversary of the Irish politician, um, Charles Parnell, sometimes known as the uncrowned King of Ireland. Parnell, who was extremely powerful and had many, many enemies, was taken down by the forces of the night. And so he lost his position. The Catholic Church turned against him, et cetera, et cetera. It was a sexual scandal. I won't go into the details. He was kind of innocent, but you can only find him innocent if you take a look at the details. And I'm not going to go into that.
Sorry,
So,
Duncan. Sorry, Duncan. He said actually in evidence that I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
that wasn't Bill Clinton.
Oh, that was Parnell.
Sorry.
In this day of fake news, I need to confirm whether it's a joke or a report.
That's a joke. Yes, that's a joke.
Okay.
How
Thank
many
you.
children did he have with
Parnell?
Kitty?
Three.
Yeah.
No.
Three.
About Parnell?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he had three children.
okay.
And he was married to Kitty O'Shea.
Yeah, after the scandal and after he left politics, he and Kitty got married.
Children, like a lot of people think that it was a kind of a Bill Clinton moment, but it wasn't. It was a full relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, sorry, I am butting in on you.
No, you're adding important details. Okay. Well, we shall begin. And first reader today will be Tom.
Okay, so I'm going to read a poem by Moya Cannon. She's a poet from Donegal in Ireland. She was born in 1956. And the poem is Forgetting Tulips. Today on the terrace, he points with his walking stick and asks, "What do you call those flowers?" On holiday in Dublin in the 60s, he bought the original 5 bulbs for £1. He planted and manured them for 35 years. He lifted them, divided them, stored them on a chicken wire in the shed, ready for planting in a straight row, high red and yellow cups. Treasure transported in galleons from Turkey to Amsterdam 3 centuries earlier. In April, they sway now in a Donegal wind above the slim leaves of sleeping carnations. A man who dug straight drills and picked blackcurrants, who taught rows of children parts of speech, tenses and declensions, under a cracked canvas map of the world, who loved to teach the story of Marco Polo and his uncles arriving home, bedraggled after 10 years journeying, then slashing the linings of their coats to spill out rubies from Cathay. Today, shedding the nouns first, he stands by his flower bed and asks, "What do you call those flowers?" Yeah, so about somebody who's forgotten what he has done, and she tries to capture that, and I like the way she goes to Amsterdam and Turkey and that about the tulips, and he's just standing there looking at them and forgetting that he ever planted them or what they were. Yeah.
What age is she, Tom?
She was born in 56, so
Oh,
I'm not sure. I think she's probably still alive. So what would that be? 44 and 25 would be 69. Yeah.
Yeah, she should be. She most likely is still alive and active.
And the book one of the books I'm reading that was her. His name is Carrying the Songs. Is the name of this collection. Yeah.
Mhm.
She's another collection there, and she just calls it Hands. Yeah, I like her poems, and there's several lovely ones there, but I like that one too. Forgetting Tulips.
Mhm.
no.
Mhm.
Tom, could you put her name onto the chat?
Oh, I will. Yeah, Joe. Yeah,
It's beautiful. But I love the cracked map on the wall.
yeah. That's yeah. You can see him standing there
Yeah,
looking at it. And the other line now that you say that is where he taught tenses and kind of
yeah,
the English kind of language, and
yeah.
yeah.
That's. I felt I was in the classroom watching that Apollo's journey, But I'd love to read something of her. I'm not familiar at all with her, and I'd
Okay. Yeah.
say thanks.
Yeah, that's very good. And because it's tulips,
Yeah.
I cannot avoid bringing up the great tulip bubble.
Yeah. I mean, they were worth fortunes, weren't they? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes, this is, and I think about 300 years ago, right? I
Yeah.
can't remember
Yeah.
exactly when it was, but there was a
Mm,
tulip mania seized Europe,
yeah.
and all kinds of speculators started buying tulips, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like Bitcoin, kind of like
Mm,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
Bitcoin thing.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, actually, even in the middle of the point when you were reading it, I was wondering, I wonder if he got one of those tulips originally, the great tulip mania.
yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. The original pump and dump exercise.
You know, human beings are given to all kinds of excesses, and particularly mental fantasies of getting rich somehow. So, Katrina, are you ready?
I'm not. I'm going to pass.
Okay.
I'm enjoying listening.
Okay. Very good. In that case, we are up with Donna.
Duncan, I've prepared nothing, but I found Ivy Day in the committee room. So if you have no
Yeah,
objection, I'll kick that off.
Kick
me
that off.
too. I have that.
Okay.
No.
Are we
Yeah,
Well,
that's
reading?
we'll
good.
kick it
But
off.
I'm
Get
confused. Are we reading Ivy Day or not?
Well, apparently you are right now.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
just start at the beginning if you want.
okay.
And we will just I think there's three of us are going to read something from Ivy Day in the committee room.
Oh,
So
okay.
coordinate a little bit about, so we're not reading exactly the same thing, but you might as well start at the beginning
I'll start at the beginning. Okay.
and just read as much as you feel like reading and then stop.
Ivy Day in the committee room. Old Jack raked the cinders together with a piece of cardboard and spread them judiciously over the whitening dome of coals. When the dome was thinly covered, his face lapsed into darkness, but as he set himself to fan the fire again, his crouching shadow ascended the opposite wall, and his face slowly reemerged into light. It was an old man's face, very bony and hairy. The moist blue eyes blinked at the fire, and the moist mouth fell open at times, munching once or twice mechanically when it closed. When the cinders had caught, he laid the piece of cardboard against the wall, sighed, and said, "That's better now, Mr. O'Connor." Mr. O'Connor, A gray-haired young man, whose face was disfigured by many blotches and pimples, had just brought the tobacco for a cigarette into a shapely cylinder, but when spoken to, he undid his handiwork meditatively. Then he began to roll the tobacco again meditatively, and after a moment's thought, decided to lick the paper. Did Mr. Tierney say when he'd be back? He asked in a husky falsetto. He didn't say. Mr. O'Connor put his cigarette into his mouth and began to search his pockets. He took out a packet of thin pasteboard cards. Next, please.
Okay, pick it up from there, Katrina.
Okay.
I'll get you a match, said the old man. Never mind, this'll do, said Mr. O'Connor. He selected one of the cards and read what was printed on it. Royal Exchange Ward, Mr. Richard J. Tierney, PLG, respectfully solicits the favour of your vote and influence at the coming election in the Royal Exchange Ward. Mr. O'Connor had been engaged by Mr. Tierney's agent to canvass one part of the ward, but as the weather was inclement and his boots let in the wet, he spent a great part of the day sitting by the fire in the committee room in Wicklow Street with Jack, the old caretaker. They had been sitting thus since the short day had grown dark. It was the 6th of October, dismal and cold out of doors. Mr. O'Connor tore a strip off the card and, lighting it, lit his cigarette. As he did so, the flame lit up a leaf of dark, glossy ivy in the lapel of his coat. The old man watched him attentively, and then, taking up the piece of cardboard again, began to fan the fire slowly while his companion smoked. Ah, yes, he said, continuing, it's hard to know what way to bring up children. Now, who'd think he'd turn out like that? I sent him to the Christian Brothers, and I'd done what I could for him. And there he goes boozing about. I tried to make him some way decent. He replaced the cardboard wearily. Only I'm an old man now. I'd change his tune for him. I'd take the stick to his back and beat him while I could stand over him, as I'd done many a time before. The mother, you know, she cocked him up with this and that. Oh, that's what ruins children, said Mr. O'Connor. To be sure it is, said the old man, and little thanks you get for it, only impudence. He takes the upper hand of me whenever he sees I have a sup taken. What's the world coming to when son speaks that way to their father? What age is he, Mr. O'Connor? 19, said the old man. Why don't you put him to something? Sure, haven't I never done at the drunken bowsy ever since he left school? I won't keep you, I says. You must get a job for yourself. But sure, it's worse. Whenever he gets a job, he drinks it all. Next, please.
Okay, well, we can stop and take a little bit of a look at what's been read so far. And then we'll go back to we'll go back to the order of in the chat list. We'll do this.
A lovely conversation.
Say that again?
I said it's a lovely conversation.
It's,
You can visualize it.
and it gets, I think it's a really good story. But sometime we will read the whole thing in the not too distant future and go into it in detail. But I mean, there's such things. Lots of the details in this are interesting. I've got a book of notes. Like it talks about canvassing. So this is a political election is taking place. And I think that Dublin was divided into 30 wards. Is that correct? Something like 30 wards. And so I think the people, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the people gathered together in the committee room are not only there to honor Parnell, but they're also part of a political group. And there's all sorts of things going on here. And it's a wonderful piece of Joyce's dissection of the complications and the bitternesses that happen among these folks. So
The election, in fact, is a by-election, according to my notes. And Mr. Tierney is fiction.
Mr. Tierney is fiction. Okay.
Yeah.
The part that's been read so far that I really like is the part where they're complaining about the young fellow who's boozing too much.
Yes.
And it's just wonderful because, you know, they're going to blame it on the mother for being too soft on the boy. You know, but you know, there's the old expression, you know, we will continue with the beatings until morale improves. Which is kind of what the father is saying. Well, I beat him a lot. I don't know why he's drinking. I tried everything I could to make him go straight, and I would, you know, liberally use, you know, beatings, but somehow it didn't work. So. Yeah, I think that's, and then the little part about you know, that the boy got a job, and then the father is complaining about, but that's even worse because now that he has a job, he's got money to drink even more.
And takes the upper hand of his father. Takes the upper hand of his father. So he's beginning to fight back from the beatings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is anyone else hearing a rumbling noise?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not just me.
Which of us is responsible is the
Let
question.
me go. Let's see. I don't hear it, but I can see it probably. Let's see. Aha. I think what's going on, and Joan, this is something that's going to continue to happen. I think you must be near. I'm looking to the right above your head over one of the paintings or photographs, and there's an air-conditioned vent.
Oh, you know that. Let me turn off the.
Or
That'll stop.
I can just mute you. That would be another way to do it. I'll just
Well,
mute.
I can mute it and then turn it back on when this stops. I can't
Okay.
control it.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and mute yourself, and that should eliminate the noise. Okay. And thank you for pointing that out, you all who did, because actually I've got an air conditioner blowing in my ear. It doesn't look like it's coming across. But if you continue to hear a sound, let me know.
We can see the fan over your head, but I don't think that's making any noise.
No, that's going too slow. That's
Okay.
good. All right.
I
Uh,
sorry, Duncan, I just looked up to see why is it called Ivy Day.
Okay.
And there are two stories. One is that the mourners in Glasnevin took ivy from the wall and put it into their suit pockets, or you know, just their lapels here. And another one was a simple offering. One story claims a Cork woman, and didn't make this up, offered a wreath of ivy, the best offering she could afford, which was praised prominently when Parlin lay in state. Yeah.
Okay.
And just to add to that, apparently the crowd were waiting at the cemetery for the funeral cortege to arrive. That's when they started picking the ivy.
Taking
being-
the ivy as a memento.
And
Yeah, there's two of them there.
The funeral was delayed because of the number of people.
Mm.
Okay, okay. So, since you're in an investigative mood, Anne, would you do a search for symbolism of ivy in Celtic culture?
Okay.
You know, because I know the trees, there's so much involved with tree symbolism that I wouldn't be surprised if there's some ivy symbolism as well. All right, so we're going to move along. And
I
then,
know that just in terms of ivy, before in Ireland, before there were Christmas decorations, poorer people at
Mhm.
Christmas used to drape ivy all over their house. They used to bring it in at Christmas.
okay,
And Joe might know more, but ivy was a sign of the birth of Christ.
Holly and ivy. Yeah, we used to put up
You
holly
know,
and ivy
I remember that.
in the house. Yeah,
I remember that at Christmas.
Mm.
People have ivy as well as holly.
yeah.
Okay. Are you ready? And we have another one. In Irish
Okay.
culture, ivy symbolizes endurance, fidelity, and the cycle of life, representing a plant's ability to survive after other plants die, and often used to signify eternal binding together. And then it goes on to say a historical example of its symbolic use was on Ivy Day as an annual commemoration of Charles Stuart Parnell, where people wore ivy as a symbol of loyalty to his memory and to the cause of Irish nationalism.
Very good.
Can I add another bit to that, Anne?
You
I
can,
think
of course.
interesting is that
Go for it.
It says, in simple terms, the Celtic tree calendar is the representation of the changing year signified by trees, not months. The changing of the trees is linked to the lunar cycle of 28 days. This means there are actually 13 trees in the year, not the regular 12 months. The tree calendar focuses our attention on the changing seasons through nature. We may think this is an ancient representation of marking the passage of time, but the tree calendar is actually a relatively modern interpretation of something very, very ancient. I looked up what you said, Duncan, ivy and Celtic mythology, so that's what I got.
Say that last part again, if you would.
I said you suggested to Anne that she look up ivy and Celtic mythology, so
Yes.
I tried that, and that's what I found.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I mean, so much of our symbols and mythology goes way, way back. It seems to be sort of thing that carries on pretty easily. And it's, you know, it's probably pretty true. Probably pretty true that in the dead of, I don't know, does ivy remain green in the wintertime or does it fade away? Remains green? Yeah, okay. So it's like the pine tree, the evergreens.
Yeah, like it's an absolute menace in a garden. If I have a neighbor who has ivy and it has invaded my territory for the last 40 years and all the neighbors around, and you can't stop it. It just keeps coming back. So, and of course, the color is green, forever. It doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So there we have it. Parnell lives.
It also destroys the brickwork in your house
Oh,
because it crawls through that and loosens the blocks.
there is a court dispute between two of my neighbors over ivy, having done exactly that to a structure in the other man's garden.
I see. The other man's ivy invaded and
The ivy.
yeah, yeah. Well, the only poem that I remember that I ever wrote had to do with, not to worry too much about the human invasion of nature. That eventually the roots would break up all of the concrete
Yeah.
and expose the wire mesh, which would then be oxidized and fall into flakes.
Yeah.
So in the long run, signs of human interference will disappear.
That is surprisingly short time, because that began to happen during COVID. There was as you said, call it a gas station, a petrol station near me, which was idle during COVID. And within a year, it was overgrown by stuff that was green. And give it 100 years and there would be no gas station there.
Yeah, that's basically true. You combine that with I don't know if you have freeze and thaw cycles in Ireland, but
Oh, yes, yeah.
okay, well, freeze and thaw cycles are marvelous because if the root gets into a street or a wall
Yeah,
and then water drips into there and
yeah,
then it freezes and the water expands,
yeah.
it makes short work of these eternal things.
Yeah.
All right. I think we are ready for Orla.
Oh, I'm not on speaker. Okay, this is one of my favorite parts of the month is when I go wandering around a bookshop to find a poetry book to have a talk about. And today, now I probably can't pronounce his name, it's Zbigniew Herbert. And I've only heard of him because of Seamus Heaney, the famous Irish poet who translated his laments. And he came to prominence. Well, he was a poet who rejected communism and what was happening and lost all his credibility at the time. And then after 56, was able to begin publicly writing again. And one of his more famous poems is a response to Theodor Adorno, who said that no poetry could be written after Auschwitz. And that's called Five Men. But I'm not going to read that because you can all look that up. This is, I brought the book into work today and everybody had looked through. And somebody chose this one because they thought it had a resonance for them. So here I go. Meditations on Father. His face menacing in a cloud over the waters of childhood. So seldom he held my warm head in his hand. Given to be believed in forgiving no faults, for he felled forests and cleared pathways. He held a lantern high when we went into the night. I thought that I would sit at his right hand, and we would part the light from the darkness and sit in judgment on the living. It was to be otherwise. A junk dealer carried his throne off in a cart, and a deed of ownership, a map of our holdings. He was born a second time, tiny, very frail, with translucent skin and slight cartilage. He shrank his body that I might receive it. In a lowly place, there's a shadow under stone. He himself grows in me. We eat our defeats. We burst out laughing when they say how little it takes to be reconciled. That's that. Now, Donna knows about Seamus Heaney, so possibly knows Tom about the influence this man had on him and his use of irony. Apparently, he was a great user. That poem is not particularly ironic, but he used irony to defend himself against the slights of the world.
He was from Ukraine, Orla, wasn't he?
He was born in Lviv, Ukraine.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce that, and but I think he was of Polish identity. Ethnicity, sorry.
Yeah, he's known as a post-war Polish writer.
And we're not going to get it today, but I also got this book, in case everybody thinks poets are totally poverty-stricken, written by, we're not going to read it today, written by Miranda Cowley Heller, and she was a screenwriter for HBO on The Sopranos and The Wire, and she has turned to poetry.
Well, the poem that you read, I thought was very marvelous, and I particularly liked what was the line? The second birth.
Oh, when old age, yes. Well, I interpreted that as old age. He was born a second time, tiny, very frail, with translucent skin and slight cartilage. He shrank his body that I might receive it. It's about aging, I suppose.
It's about aging, but it's also about the child's perception of the parent. That in the beginning, the parent is a monster, kind of a big, strong monster, completely intimidating to the child. I always say we forget that from the child, particularly the infant's point of view, we're giants. You know, and we're very intimidating just by our size. I mean, to have someone who's 40 times bigger than you are speak at you in a harsh voice is pretty shocking. So I think that the poet there does a really good job of shrinking the monster down to
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a bit like Alice. Sounds a bit like Alice in Wonderland. All that shrinking going on.
Yeah.
It's kind of Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. But it also ties in with Ivy Day in the committee room, the man at the start is saying the sun is now getting bigger, you know? Like that child had a dinosaur to deal with, and now he's probably an inch higher than him, you know? So the same phenomenon.
Yeah, I can remember the transition in my case very clearly.
Yeah.
Where my son and I used to roughhouse.
Oh,
and that went on until he was probably about 15, and we were roughhousing, and he threw me down and gave me a gash over my eye. And I immediately thought, that's the last of that. I'm not going to do any more of that. Aha. And Mosier is joining us. Are you going to be reading? I saw your microphone go on. But even though your microphone on, I don't hear anything. Okay. Orla, thank you very much. And would you put the name of the poet in the chat? And the name of that particular poem, if you don't mind. So, Joe, we are up. You are next at bat here.
Okie dokie. Well, we have another anniversary. Yesterday, the 5th of October, was a birth anniversary of a man known now as Flann O'Brien.
Oh,
And to commemorate that, Flann was born in the 5th of October 1911, and he lived until 1966. He died young at 54 years of age. You know, nowadays young. But he is, I think he is famous outside Ireland for chillingly humorous writing. So I'm going to read a little pieces from one of his most famous book, The Third Policeman.
Okay.
right? And I'm reading the blurb on my copy, and this ties me in with this group. The novel is comparable only to Alice in Wonderland as an allegory of the absurd. It is a murder thriller, a hilarious comic satire, and so on. And then a short quote from Mr. Joyce describes Flann O'Brien as, and this is in quotes, a real writer with the true comic spirit. So there you go. So with that, and I think, I mean, there's so much of this guy I could have quoted that's actually funnier than this, but in case anyone doesn't know him, this will do as a start. We're not sure who the narrator is. He tells us he was born long ago. That's kind of the level of information. And he's on a road. He also tells us on the first 6 words that he murdered a man. And he's wandering down a road and he comes to a police station. It's a strange building because even though he can see it, he can't identify any sides. He's not sure if it's rectangular or a triangle. I have never seen a police station. I had never seen a police station like it. I cannot say why I did not stop and think, or why my nervousness did not make me halt and sit down weakly by the roadside. Instead, I walked straight up to the door and looked in. I saw, standing with his back to me, an enormous policeman. His back appearance was unusual. He was standing behind a little counter with a neat whitewashed day room. His mouth was open, and he was looking into a mirror which hung upon the wall. Again, I find it difficult to convey the precise reason why my eyes found his shape unprecedented and unfamiliar. He was very big and fat, and the hair which strayed abundantly about the back of his bulging neck was a pale straw colour. All of that was striking, but not unheard of. His hands were red, swollen and enormous, and he appeared to have one of them halfway into his mouth as he gazed into the mirror. "It's my teeth," I heard him say, abstractedly and half aloud. I must have made a sound at the door, or possibly he had seen my reflection in the glass, for he turned round slowly, shifting his stance with a leisurely and heavy majesty. And as he turned, I heard him murmuring to himself, "Nearly every sickness is from the teeth." His face gave me one more surprise. It was enormously fat, red and widespread, sitting squarely on the neck of his tunic, with a clumsy weightedness that reminded me of a sack of flour. He came over ponderously to the inside of the counter, and I advanced meekly from the door until we were face to face. "Is it about a bicycle?" he asked. His expression when I encountered it was unexpectedly reassuring. In the front of his peaked official cap was an important-looking badge, and over it in golden letters was the word Sergeant. It was Sergeant Pluck himself. "No," I answered, stretching forth my hand to lean with it against the counter. The sergeant looked at me incredulously. "Are you sure?" he asked. "Certain. Not about a motorcycle?" "No." "One with overhead valves and a dynamo for light? Or with racing handlebars?" "No." "In that circumstantial eventuality, there could be no question of a motor bicycle," he said. He looked surprised and puzzled, leaned sideways on the counter, on the prop of his left elbow. I decided now that he was a simple man, that I'd have no difficulty in dealing with him exactly as I desired. I did not understand clearly the reason for his questions about bicycles, but I made my mind to answer everything carefully, to bide my time, and to be cunning in my dealings with him. He moved away abstractly, coming back and handed me a bundle of different coloured papers, which looked like application forms for bull licenses and dog licenses and the like. There'll be no harm if you fill up these forms, he said. Tell me, he continued, would it be true that you are an itinerant dentist and that you came on a tricycle? It would not, I replied. Or a patent tandem? No. Dentists are an unpredictable coterie of people, he said. Do you tell me it was a velocipede or a penny farthing? I do not, I said evenly. He gave me a long, searching look as if to see whether I was serious in what I was saying. And maybe you are no dentist at all, but only a man after a dog license or papers for a bull. I did not say I was a dentist, I said sharply, and I did not say anything about a bull. That's a great curiosity, he said. A very difficult piece of puzzledom. What is your pronoun? He inquired. I have no pronoun, I answered, hoping I knew his meaning. What is your cog? My cog? Your surnoun? I have not that either. My reply surprised him and also seemed to please him. He raised his thick eyebrows and changed his face in what could be described as a smile. He came back to the counter, put out his enormous hand, took mine in it and shook it warmly. No name and no idea your originality at all. None. Well, by the hokey, by the holy Irish American powers, says he, by the dad, well, carry me back to old Kentucky. He then retreated from the counter to his chair by the fire, violently bent in thoughts, as if examining one by one bygone years stored in memory. I was once acquainted with a tall man, he said to me at last. And you are certain to be his son, and the heir to his nullity and all his nuttings. Oh, where's your pop today, and where is he? It's not, I thought, entirely unreasonable that the son of a man who had no name would have no name also. It was clear that the sergeant was confusing me with somebody else. This was no harm, and I decided to encourage him. Gone to America, I replied. Is that where? Said the sergeant. Do you tell me that? He was a true family husband. The last time I interviewed him, it was about a missing pump. And he had a wife and 10 sons. And at that time, he had the wife again in a very advanced state of sexuality. That was me, I said, smiling. That was you, he agreed. Where are the 10 strong sons? All gone to America. That is a great conundrum of a country, said the sergeant. A very wide territory, a place occupied by black men and strangers. I'm told they're very fond of shooting matches in that quarter. Queer land, I said. And there's now an interruption when a second policeman comes in. I'll spare you that. And I'm just going to go on to it's a conversation with the sergeant, which resumes. The sergeant gave me a keen look, which felt almost hot from being on the fire. The first beginnings of wisdom, he said, is to ask questions, but never to answer any. You get wisdom from asking, and I from not answering. Would you believe that there is a great increase in crime in this locality? Last year, We had 69 cases of no lights and 4 stolen. This year we have 82 cases of no lights, 13 cases of riding on the footpath and 4 stolen. There was 1 case of wanton damage to a 3-speed gear. Before the year is out, there is certain to be a pump stolen, a very depraved and despicable manifestation of criminality and a blot on the country. 5 years ago, we had a case of loose handlebars. Now there's a rarity for you. It took 3 of us a week to frame the charges. Loose handlebars, I muttered. And then there's the question of bad brakes. Country's honeycombed with bad brakes. Half the accidents are due to it. It ruins families. And I'll stop there. This goes on through various other adventures, and you begin to realize that the cops are, I'll just summarize a very funny book in a few lines. They're very concerned about the atomic theory, and that if you heat up pieces of metal, atoms move from one to the other, and are convinced and are on the trail of the output of overcycling of bicycles. In that if a man pedals a bike long enough and hard enough, molecules will travel from him into the bicycle and from the bicycle into the man, and there will emerge a half man, half bicycle creature. And they are convinced they have the signs of this and are onto the trail of it.
Brilliant job.
Oh, excellent.
So I saw a few smiles. A few people fell asleep. That's all right.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, definitely not.
It's to bring it up again, very Alice in Wonderlandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote that in about 1940 or 41, and his first book was A Swim Two Birds, which is really the best book he's ever written. But he wrote that then, the following 41, and he couldn't get any publisher to publish it. So he said he lost it. He told people that various things, that he left it behind in the pub. He left the manuscript behind in the pub. He left it here, he left it there. But he was kind of ashamed that the fact that he had written A Swim Two Birds and nobody would publish this. So it wasn't published until 1967, I think, after he died, yeah.
Poor guy.
But yeah, so he kind of
Yeah.
but an extraordinary character, like, you know, you kind of I mean, he was a civil servant all his life.
Yes.
And he had 3 names: Miles Nagopaline, Flann O'Brien, Brian O'Nolan. And he was always, I mean, he called his office the Scotch House. He worked in the custom. He worked in the custom house, which is across the bridge there. But he would spend a lot of his time in the Scotch House, and he would write some of his articles there. But the only other one of the other interesting things about him, he grew up in Strabane, I think it was, in Tyrone, and the household only spoke Irish.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't go to school. So he had about 2 brothers and 3 sisters. And his father became, he got a big job in custom and excise, and he was moved down south to Tullamore and that. And I think a lot of the background of that's what Joe was out reading was set in Tullamore in Ireland. And but they didn't go to school until they were about 14 or 15, when they eventually came to Dublin, you know. And then they went to Sing Street and they encountered the Christian Brothers. They couldn't believe this, that the Christian Brothers were so bad, you know, with the straps and everything. But yeah, so extraordinary kind of character, yeah. But it was, yeah, he kind of fades into a bicycle eventually, that guy, yeah.
Yeah, he turns into a bicycle. Oh,
But he was parliamentary. I mean, he was parliamentary secretary to 3 ministers for health and for labour and health, and he used to have to go into the Dáil sometimes and sit there and kind of, yeah, and yeah, it was great.
He's
But
he's in that famous drawing in the Oval Bar.
yeah, yeah.
And the this for I don't know, it's Tom, you'll know this. There's a man called Val O'Donnell who
Yeah.
is a great Joyce man, and but he does a one man. He used to do a one man Flann O'Brien show, like the brother with the
Yeah,
pint.
yeah,
And I was talking to Val on Saturday 2 weeks ago, and Val has had a stroke,
oh,
and he he broke 4 ribs in a fall down the stairs.
Ooh.
He's quite frail now, but Val was director of Sweeney's at one stage, and Flann O'Brien himself was one of the people who participated in the first Bloomsday.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
of the boys.
Yeah.
You run through the names, Tom. My memory is running.
Well, Kavanagh was there. There was another Joyce there. There was Ryan from who started it from the Bailey, and then there was Anthony Cronin, you know, who wrote the book Dead as Doornails, about all these, about Flann O'Brien, Behan and Kavanagh. And I mean, they were all around the same time. They drank in McDade's together, and they didn't get on a lot of the time. So yeah. So yeah.
On the first Bloomsday, that's Tom Joyce. He was a nephew.
Yeah.
Joyce. He was a dentist and may never have read Ulysses. It's very
Yeah.
likely.
But they were all they were drinking heavily.
Oh,
a lot of
God,
them, yeah.
that's, yes.
And Brenda Bean was not invited on the
No.
first.
Yeah, I think that they all went to one particular bar and they deliberately went at different times to avoid
Yeah.
being.
It's still there.
Yeah.
But there was a group reproduced that photograph,
That's right. Yeah.
50th, and Val came in as Flann O'Brien robes, you know, with the hat and so on. So it's so there you go.
Yeah, well, for those who may not know, there is a YouTube documentary on, I believe it's Kavanagh, Cronin, and Flann O'Brien,
Yeah.
among others.
Yeah.
But they were the main ones. It's a pretty good. I'll try to get the link to it.
Yeah, it's Anthony Cronin and John Ryan.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal. If we're thinking the same documentary, it's tremendous.
Yeah. Well, you know, in the history of the Monday Book Club, we have actually, going back into the misty past, we read At Swim Two Birds.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
then we read, I believe it was Poor Mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah. Bale book. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember reading Poor Mouth.
It's pretty bizarre.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not as bizarre as At Swim Two Birds and
Yeah.
The Third Policeman.
Yeah.
Those two books are just lunatic.
Yeah, they are crazy. Crazy nice though.
They're just lunatic. It really is. If you take them seriously at all, it really is an Alice in Wonderland for adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add, Anthony Cronin wrote a biography of Flann O'Brien. I think it's called No Laughing Matter.
Laughing matter.
Yeah. But I mean, he knew him. You see, Cronin knew those people because he moved around with them. Yeah, but it's good. Yeah, and Cronin is a brilliant critic, but he's always kind. You know, there's no kind of you know, because he understood those people. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with their baby powers in their pockets, and he was in several car crashes. Flann O'Brien as well, and he had a running battle with the guards in Donnybrook Station, you know. And And all so much, yeah.
Hmm. Very good. And you read that excellently, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
No, he did.
I mean, there are much more funnier parts than that, you know. But it wouldn't be funny if you hadn't heard anything about the book. So I just took
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, but what I mean by, I mean, your pauses and the way you would read the words was really good.
Yeah.
I know you were paying a lot of attention to what was on the page.
It's the way policemen used to be in Ireland, you know.
Yeah.
Spent time in police stations.
I throw in a piece about Tony Cronin as we mentioned him.
Oh yeah.
When I was working for the Taoiseach Charlie Haughey, Cronin was his cultural advisor.
Mm.
So he used to arrive into the office at 5:25 every day, just to make sure he picked up a full daily per diem.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time with them, but the thing that I could not take my eyes off was that the arse was out of his trousers
Yeah.
and he had stitched it back together again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe the poor artist, but I'm sure he did better subsequently.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
Well, he went on holiday with Bean to France. And he's tremendous descriptions of that. Kavanagh stayed with him in London, and Flann O'Brien gave him the last book he wrote, the Dalkey Archive, to kind of review it in MacDay's pub. You know, so he kind of knew them all, like, and he knew how they. But interestingly, he says, I remember saying that the real genius among the three of them, if you take, they were all geniuses in a way, but the real one, the one that was really had the thing was Kavanagh. You know, Kavanagh was the kind of thing,
Yeah.
which I think myself as well, yeah.
I don't think they finished their first Bloomsday tour.
You were worse than Flann O'Brien.
Yeah.
They didn't cross Dublin, Joe, without passing a pub, so it was impossible.
Yeah.
I don't know where their demise happened exactly. I don't know if anyone knows, but they certainly didn't make it to Penelope.
I've seen a picture of them with some kind of coach to take them around Dublin in their top hats.
Yeah.
Was it a funeral coach?
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the strangest things that Cronin says that happened on that time they were out, it was the same week as the Ascot Gold Cup. Cronin says that it was on the same day, but I think he's a day out. But funnily enough, Elpenor won the Ascot Gold Cup in 1954 I think it was 54, when they were on their journey. And I think Elpenor is the guy that falls off the roof in Ulysses, and goes down to the first person that they see in Hades. That in the kind of thing, and he kind of says we should have backed that horse on that day, you know, with Elpenor.
Oh, yeah, of course.
On Bloomsday, yeah.
Yeah, because of Hades,
Yeah.
Who is that? Paddy Dignam is Elpenor, isn't it? Isn't that where they?
I don't know which of them. Yeah, some of them. Yeah.
Paddy dies at the drink, and in a sense, Elpenor died at the drink because he
fell off the roof, and then he was down in and when they went and Ulysses went down, or the shade went down, he was the first person that they met. Yeah. And they asked him to give him a good burial, wasn't that it, or something like that?
And Ulysses says to him, like a joke, soldier's joke, you know, he says, "Oh, dead in Ullashar, you got here ahead of me." And Joyce uses
yeah. That's right, yeah.
And then there's a character asking, asking Bloom to sign him in for the funeral? He wasn't going to go.
McCoy,
couldn't go,
McCoy, and McCoy manages to write an account of it as well for the newspaper, even though he wasn't there.
Oh,
Right. Yeah, McCoy gets his name in and Bloom's name is misspelled.
Boom, L boom. Yeah. Hey, I give you Flann O'Brien, Miles na Gopalin.
Yeah.
Miles of the horses, that means in Irish.
Yeah.
You know, miles of the horses, miles na Gopalin.
Okay.
Of the little horses.
I think, let's see where we are here. Okay, Anne Doyle.
Okay. Where did you finish, Donna? I was going to take it up.
I'll tell you now.
Thank you.
The next paragraph would have commenced. Mr. O'Connor shook his head in sympathy.
Perfect. Thank you. Mr. O'Connor shook his head in sympathy, and the old man fell silent, gazing into the fire. Someone opened the door of the room and called out, "Hello, is this a Freemasons meeting?" "Who's that?" said the old man. "What are you doing in the dark?" asked a voice. "Is that you, Hines?" asked Mr. O'Connor. "Yes. What are you doing in the dark?" said Mr. Hines, advancing into the light of the fire. He was a tall, slender young man with a light brown moustache. Imminently drops of rain hung at the brim of his hat, and the collar of his jacket coat was turned up. "Well, Matt," he said to Mr. O'Connor, "how goes it?" Mr. O'Connor shook his head. The old man left the hearth, and after stumbling about the room, returned with 2 candlesticks, which he thrust one after the other into the fire and carried to the table. A denuded room came into view, and the fire lost all its cheerful colour. The walls of the room were bare except for a copy of an election address. In the middle of the room was a small table on which papers were heaped. Mr. Hines leaned against the mantelpiece and asked, "Has he paid you yet?" "Not yet," said Mr. O'Connor. "I hope to God he'll not leave us in the lurch tonight." Mr. Hines laughed. "Oh, excellent. Is that from me?"
No, I think I need to find out where that's coming from. What's gone away now. Let me check one thing. Carol, I'm going to put you on mute. It's possible that someone came into Carol's room.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Mr. Hines laughed. "Oh, he'll pay you, never fear," he said. "I hope he looks smart about it if he means business," said Mr. O'Connor. "What do you think, Jack?" asked Mr. Hines satirically to the old man. The old man returned to his seat by the fire, saying, "It isn't, but he has it anyway, not like the other tinker." "What other tinker?" said Mr. Hines. "Colgan," said the old man scornfully. "It is because Colgan's a working man you say that. What's the difference between a good honest bricklayer and a publican? Hasn't the working man as good a right to be in the corporation as anyone else, and a better right than those shunneens that are always hat in hand before any fellow with a handle to his name?" "And that's so, Matt," said Mr. Hines, addressing Mr. O'Connor. "I think you're right," said Mr. O'Connor. "One man is a plain honest man with no hung-siding about him. He goes in to represent the labour classes. This fellow you're working for only wants to get some job or other. Of course, the working classes should be represented," said the old man. "The working classes," said Mr. Hines, "gets all the kicks and no halfpence, but it's labour produced everything. The working man is not looking for fat jobs for his sons and nephews and cousins. The working man is not going to drag the honour of Dublin in the mud to please a German monarch." I'll leave it there.
Okay.
So long since I've read it. Really nice.
It is really nice, and it's like strokes on a drawing.
Mm.
You know, every sentence adds some little piece of very particular information that fleshes out the picture.
And even when they light the candle, the fire loses its flame and trying to find where it is. I thought, oh, that is so true. Because, you know, if you go into a room and the fire is lighting, it's beautiful. But then if you put on the main light or something, it loses a bit of its magic.
Yeah, well, it also loses some of its intimacy.
Mm.
You know, when there's just this one central light that everybody's sitting around, you know, it's more of a tableau, intimate effect. And then you bring
Oh, it
in
lost all its cheerful color. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's nice. Who's next?
The next person is
Oh,
going to
Joan.
be Joan. Joan?
Thank
Oh.
you.
Um, I brought a book called Memorial. I don't know if you've heard of this or not. It's a version of Homer's Iliad, and it's in poetry, and it is by Alice Oswald, who is a British poet.
Huh. Yeah, and you changed locations, Joan.
I did. Oh, I left Ireland. Well, it's
No,
not. It's not.
no, your actual physical location right now
Oh
is
yes, I moved to get away from the noise. I moved into the kitchen.
okay.
See all my dirty dishes. I'll
I don't see any dirty dishes at all. Looks
well,
perfectly clean.
good. I'm going to read the flyleaf. It gives a brief idea of what this book is about very succinctly, and I think it'll help. In this daring and original new work, the acclaimed British poet Alice Oswald strips away the narrative of the Iliad, the anger of Achilles, the story of Helen, in favor of attending to its atmospheres. The extended similes that bring so much of the natural order into the poem and the corresponding litany of the war dead, most of whom are little more than names, but each of whom lives and dies unforgettably and unforgotten in the copious retrospect of Homer's glance. The resulting poem is a war memorial of the highest order and a profoundly responsive work that gives new voice to Homer's level-voiced version of the world. Through a mix of narrative and musical repetition, the sequence becomes, and this is what one of the most moving parts of this is, it becomes a meditation on the loss of human life. And I've read this 3 times. I see I wrote it down all times. And I wrote, bravo, bravo, bravo. So I must have liked it. I'm going to read a little part of it so you can get an idea of this book. I really strongly recommend it. I think it's quite wonderful. She makes a list at the beginning of the book of all the people that she mentions, and there are hundreds of them. Just a great long list of names. And the one I'm going to read is about, if I can pronounce it, Scamandrius the hunter. Knew every deer in the woods. He used to hear the voice of Artemis calling out to him in the lunar no man's land of the mountains. She taught him to track her animals, but impartial death has killed the killer. Now Artemis, with all her arrows, can't help him up. His accurate firing arm is useless. Menelaus stabbed him, one spear thrust through the shoulders, and the point came out through the ribs. His father was Strophius. Like a mother is rushing, and a little girl clings to her clothes. Wants help, wants arms, won't let her walk. Like starting up at the tower of adulthood, wanting to be light again, wanting this whole problem of living to be lifted and carried on a hip. Like when a mother is rushing and a little girl clings to her clothes, wants help, wants arms, won't let her walk. Like staring up at that tower of adulthood, wanting to be light again, wanting this whole problem of living to be lifted and carried on a hip. That's one of them. I can read another one. I'll read another one. This is beloved of Athene, Pherocles, I think is pronounced his name, son of Harmon, brilliant with his hands, and born of long line of craftsmen. It was he who built the cursed fleet of Paris, little knowing it was his own death boat. Dread on his knees, screaming, Meriones appeared to him in the buttock, speared him in the buttock, and the point pierced him in the bladder. And Pentheus, the unwanted one, the mistake of his father's mistress, felt the hot shock in his neck of Negus' spear, unswallowable sore throat of metal in his throat, right through his teeth. He died biting down on the spearhead. Like suddenly it thunders, and a storm wind rushes down and roars into the sea's ears, and the curves of many white-patched waves run this way and that way. Like suddenly it thunders, and a storm wind rushes down and roars into the sea's ears, and the curves of the many white-patched waves run this way and that way. I think that gives you an idea of the whole book.
Okay, so the author's name again is
Alice Oswald.
Oswald. I can remember that because Oswald is one of the characters in King Lear. That's actually pretty wonderful. And I've never heard of this before. And the title of it is War Memorial?
No, just Memorial.
Just Memorial.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. That's quite nice. Although, you know, a little shocking since it so graphically describes the specifics of their death.
Yeah, but when you read more of the writings about it, it's helpful because it brings out things you might not think about while you're reading it, in terms of what she is trying to do.
Right.
But we don't need to go into that.
Okay. Well, time is moving up on us here, and we have Des.
Yeah, Des.
And did you prepare something today?
Yeah, I just, not really the same as other people, but I wanted to suggest a book that I found on my shelf that I found really interesting.
Okay, so we'll go with Des
Yeah,
first. And
yeah,
then you have
exactly.
your opportunity. Okay, Des.
Okay. It's a short poem. The
Okay.
sound of her silk skirt has stopped. On the marble pavement, dust grows. Her empty room is cold and still. Fallen leaves are piled against the doors. Longing for that lovely lady. How can I bring my aching heart to rest? That's from a poem by a fellow named Li Fujian. He was an Emperor Wu of Han, about 150 BC. And it's every bit as poignant and descriptive as anything that we'd write today.
What book did that come out of?
Oh gosh, you're talking about now. I'd have to try and find that for you.
Okay. I only ask because there's so many different collections of Chinese poems that have been passed down for hundreds of years, thousands of years.
Yes, yeah.
And they're usually short, very descriptive, very human, and get a lot of emotion in a very short space, is my general experience. Yeah. Okay. And
Okay. put in the chat that I'm going to be in Ireland next week for 2 weeks, and be in Dublin and on the West Coast. We have family there, and we're looking for, the roots of the family, which are in Mayo. So my sister and I are traveling on vouchers we got from the airlines when we vacated seats on an overbooked flight last fall. So it's kind of a rush we didn't realize they had a time constraint on the voucher, so we're in a rush to get everything together. One of the things I do before travel is I look at my bookshelves and see what I'll miss. Of course, I'll miss books on Mondays, but one of the books I found, and I wonder if anybody else knows about this book, and it's by Declan Kiberd, and it's called Inventing Ireland, the Literature of the Modern Nation. Do people know about that book?
We know Declan Kiberd, all right.
Okay. Well, the thing is with this book, for me, it's an amazing backgrounder on the Irish literature from the earliest times when there was Gaelic spoken to to contemporary times. It also it's amazing because it incorporates references to what was happening in the larger world that troubled Ireland, like, for instance, the French Revolution, how they thought the French Revolution would come to Ireland. And so that was a fear for the British. Also, the sociologic background on how the British regarded the Irish and had to regard them as less than equal. They were peasants and the Irish were the aristocracy. But anyway, I'm still poking through the book, but maybe at another point we could read some passages from it. But you might know them already. But for me, it's an amazing find, because when we read the individual books, it's one thing, but to find the books in the context of a larger political and cultural world, not just between Ireland and England, but America's Revolution, the French Revolution, and the things that were happening on the continent, I think is just an amazing analysis.
Yeah. That book came out a few years ago, and
yes, it did.
Well received. Now, I don't have a copy of it, and I've never read it myself. But now that you brought it to mind, I think I'm going to go out and get it.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good.
He has a book on Ulysses and Us, and he deals with each chapter of Ulysses. Yeah, and the photograph of Marilyn Monroe reading Ulysses is on the cover of it.
Oh.
So you might see that when you're in Ireland. Yeah.
Okay.
But he's a prolific writer. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Will you be going to the National Library, Anna, to do some tracing?
I hope so. We just started this whole thing about a week or 10 days ago, so I'm making a list of things not to miss. And I heard
you will find that the genealogists in the library are there to help you for free.
Okay.
Yeah. That version of Ulysses, I think that's the long Ulysses, I call it anyway. Penguin. That has the introduction by Declan Kiberd.
Okay.
So it is prolific, as Tom said. Yeah, I'm going to get that. That's sweet.
Do you know
my
when
mother was just a little bit.
Do you know, Anne, when you're in Dublin and when you're in Mayo?
We'll be in Dublin on the 15th for 5 days, and then over to Mayo for the balance of time up till till Halloween.
So are you going to drop into Sweeney's?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a good time
good.
where? Yeah, I'm definitely got Sweeney's to show my sister. But is there a time any of you would be going over to Sweeney's?
Arrange it.
We'll be there on Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll be there on Tuesday through Sunday.
Yeah.
So they have readings. The ones I know about is they read Finnegan's Wake on Tuesday evening at 7. And then I think they read, Orla would know this better, I think they read Ulysses on the Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they read Ulysses in French on Saturday evening
Yeah.
at 6, and you can join them online.
Yeah.
Is that the 15th of October?
Yeah, like next Tuesday. And we leave here on Tuesday. We get in Wednesday morning.
That's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
my mother was one of 15 children born in County Mayo.
Yeah.
And the peasant level of people, they had nothing
Yeah.
but 3 rooms that were dirt floors and rooms of stone joined onto
Yeah.
rooms of stone. I've been there before, but I simply cannot imagine how the family survived
Yeah.
in those circumstances. I mean, when you think of all the needs that 15 kids would need, not only food, but space to live and clothes to wear and education and whatever. So I'm kind of interested more in settling into some of the pubs in Mayo, in Mulranny, where my mother was from, and just talking to who lives there and what do they remember and what could they tell me,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I was there many years ago with and climbed the Cropatrick with my dad. But before we got to take off on our little jaunt, we stopped at one of the neighbors' farms, I guess, and there were chickens running around in the courtyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we were back for dinner, and guess what was served?
Which you hope you hadn't missed ours previously.
Yeah.
I was always sorry that we alerted the family that a chicken was a good thing to serve. But, and the other thing that was funny about that trip was we were sitting in the kitchen for a cup of tea, and a cupboard door opened, and there was a closet with a bed stretched wall to wall in it, and that's where one of the kids was sleeping, a young teenager.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sure it's going to be an interesting trip.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, I'll tell you more about it when I see you.
Okay. Yeah, you better.
Yeah. But one thing about Ireland that's really changed is the cost of traveling.
Oh yes.
The hotels in Dublin are outrageous, really, on our standards. Like $250 a night plus,
Yeah.
and
And eating out will be just as difficult.
pardon me.
Eating out will be just as expensive.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. And my sister's looking up hotels on the West Coast, and she's finding the same prices.
Yeah.
So
The only thing is the Guinness will be cheaper on the West Coast than it is in Dublin.
that's a compensation.
Well, that's valuable information.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
I don't know what they'll charge for the pint in Mulranny, but keep away from Temple Bar, you'll be paying €12.
Oh, and then maybe you have to pay for a round to get around.
Well, only if you're in company.
Yeah.
That's really.
Well, have a very good trip.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look forward to hearing from you, and I'm going to thank everybody. I think we've had a mighty good time today
Yes, thank you.
and learned lots of stuff. And I know I have some notes of more authors to look up. Just what I need, more books.
Exactly.
Good.
Well, and if you want to go to Ivy Day in the committee room, go to the door that says 15, number 15. Wicklow Street. You'll be quite near it if you're near Sweeney's. Go to 15 Wicklow Street and go in through that door. The door will be open. It's currently, the sign over it says the Secret Book and Records Store.
Yeah.
Secret Book and Records Store. Remember, it's actually a wrong number on the door. It's 15A, it should be. But the first stairs to the left is the one that Father Keown is going up.
Okay.
There you go.
Good value in books and records as well.
I can confirm I went there on pilgrimage with Jim Keeley, our friend from New York, about 10 days ago, and we were wandering like Lenihan and whoever it is around Dublin in circles. And so let's have a look in here and check it out. And we got it, and we found it. We went into it. The door is open, and you can go in and go up. We went right to the top of the building, but
Oh, yeah,
no, no.
yeah.
There's lots of it. Like, it's no longer a dark. It's all got kind of very expensive looking places that
Yeah.
medicine and health and all sorts of things. And very beautiful young people coming and going, and things. And two of the codgers on the stairs were like, we sort of, what were you doing there? But that's the but it's on your left as you go. That's the stairs that the Father Keown goes up in the book.
Okay. Well, I
There's-
hope I get there. Yeah. Thank you.
No,
Just off Grafton Street.
Right.
No.
Yeah. You said right by Sweeney's.
no electricity.
No,
No
it's
electricity.
Wicklow Street,
Oh, Wicklow Street.
which is just off Grafton Street.
Okay. Okay.
So good.
Thanks.
Put 15 Wicklow Street into your Google or your maps, and it'll take it. But there's no electric light in that building at the time. That's why it's dark. And you'll see why it's very dark.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, this is great.
And I hope you come back out, Anne.
And if you're in Sweeney on the 19th of October, that's you'll be meeting Duncan online and Tom online and various other people online for Finnegan's Wake. So they'll be online in the building.
Mhm.
At 7 o'clock on I think it's Tuesday, the 19th of October.
Okay.
The 19th is a Sunday.
Oh, sorry, what day? Okay, 13th,
Tomorrow's
14th.
started to be the 14th or
14th.
the 14th or the 21st.
Oh, the 21st, sorry, the 21st then.
No, Anne will be gone by then. She's 5
Oh,
days. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 5 days in Dublin and 5 days in.
Oh, of course, you go online.
No, about 12 days on the West Coast and 5 days in Dublin.
Oh.
Have a wonderful trip, Anne. I
Yeah,
know
thank you.
I know you'll have
great
more
Tell
time.
them
than
to
we can
expect
possibly
you
do.
anyway.
Okay, thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah.
See you soon.
The-
Bye-bye.